Tonians are also voting on 6 city charter propositions, and 3 of them deal with raising pay for the city manager, the mayor, and city council members and changing their terms. Right now, with the early vote, all 6 propositions are passing. Rania Kaur joins us now live from City Hall with more. Rania.
Deborah, of course, the 3 most controversial propositions on the ballot are all regarding pay and term limits and term length. That's for the city manager, the city council, and the mayor. And right now here with me, I have Mayor Ron Nirenberg, Mayor Ron, we were just very briefly talking about the election results for the propositions. And of course, those 3 propositions that I was just mentioning, 2 of them are narrowly passing at the moment. What is your take on the current election results for the propositions?
Well, we're obviously not going to declare victory until every vote is counted, but there's a comfortable lead going into the election day totals, and so we feel pretty good about that. Once again proves that San Antonio voters are smart, they're aware, they're informed, and they want to move our city forward, so I think they made the right decision today.
Do you expect the results to change at all, especially with the propositions? I know we were talking earlier about, obviously, the votes that are being counted right now for Bexar County are counted for the whole county.
Right. No, I think, these results we believe will hold. And again, I'm grateful that once again we've put a question in front of voters that we believe is important. That will move our community forward in significant ways. In this particular ballot election, it's about the governance of the city, and I believe they made the right choice. And so, very pleased with the results. But of course, we're going to watch it all the way to the end. But I believe these results will hold.
You know, Mayor, there has been, of course, some pushback with Proposition C regarding city managers' pay and city managers' term length, especially given the fact that voters kind of made up their minds in 2018.
Well, look, this is, that's why it's an open question, and we presented that question to the Charter Review Commission, which is made up of a cross-section of this community. The city manager of the city of San Antonio is the CEO of a 14,000 employee organization that touches every aspect of every resident's life in this community. So we want to be able to have and acquire and keep the best talent we can. And that's regardless of whether that talent is local or not. It just so happens I believe that the best talent for these positions is actually here in our city right now. We want to be able to retain that talent, especially when we go out for a new city manager, which will happen eventually. And so this puts us in a position to be able to compete for our own talent, because we know that other cities around the country are already shopping in San Antonio to pull our talent elsewhere. We want to keep them local.
Mayor, were you aware that San Antonio actually has the lowest city manager salary, even below Corpus Christi?
Yeah, I am, which is why I believe in the heat of a very entrenched and inflamed collective bargaining battle that was going on in 2018. That was a decision that was made, and we wanted to take a look at it now that things are a little bit more settled, and I think voters made the right decision. We want to be in the most competitive position possible. We want the elected officials who are responsive to the voters of San Antonio to be accountable to the voters in hiring that position, that CEO of the city of San Antonio. And so voters have made their voices heard, that voters, the public, wants to have a voice in the process of selecting our next city manager, our future city managers, and that's exactly what they will get if Proposition C passes, and I believe it will.
Turning to, of course, the mayor term length and the city council term length and the pay for both of those positions, how has it been for you? I mean, you're kind of on your way out. This isn't even impacting you. Why was it important for you to bring this up?
Well, first, when I was hired, when I was elected to be on the city council, my first term, there was no pay. There was a stipend. And so in 2015, voters approved for the first time ever to our city charter a salary for city council members. What that allows is for people, the general public, to be able to run for office. It doesn't, just mean that you have to be wealthy or retired to be able to afford to be on the city council. We want city government to reflect our entire community. So that salary was important, and I believe it's reflective now of the diversity that you see on the city council. We did need to make sure that city council salaries were not within the control of city council. We want it to be indexed so that as the cost of living rises, as the standard of living rises in San Antonio, then the city council salaries will also change. It's no longer in the hands of city council because voters approved this proposition. Now that city council pay will be tied to the area median income, which I believe is a very prudent thing to do. It means that politicians will no longer be setting their own salaries in the city of San Antonio.
Thank you so much, Mayor Ron Nirenberg. I'm going to ask you to hang on for just a second. That saying, of course, that was Mayor Ron Nirenberg regarding the 3 most controversial propositions on San Antonio's ballot this evening. We'll, of course, continue to keep you updated on the results as they get finalized throughout the evening. Sending it back to you, Deborah.
All right, Rania, thank you. Well, of course, the UTSA poll had said 60 to 70% of San Antonians opposed extending Eric Walsh's contract or the city manager contract and a pay raise. This is a defeat, I think, for the firefighters who are fighting for this.
Definitely. Well, there were some problems with that first poll that they did because they actually didn't use the actual ballot language. They sort of put it in their own words. They paraphrased it quite liberally. So I think that affected the results. Their second poll, I think, was much more accurate. And then definitely, the firefighters did not spend as much money, I think, as Renew SA did, if that's my understanding. So, but you do see, of all the propositions, the Proposition C and F, which F is the term limits, those are the two that are in the 50s right now. Not surprising, they're the ones that are a little bit more controversial. The others are, I think they're all going to pass at this point. I think it's pretty safe to call it.
I think they'll all pass, and I think the language was very confusing for most voters who have not spent a lot of time studying it and understand exactly what the subject matter is. So the language was somewhat confusing for the majority of voters, and you really didn't have organized opposition. While the firefighters opposed it, they certainly weren't as active as they have been previously. And I think if you ask most voters, they can't name anyone that was opposed to it on an organized basis, whereas the business community came out very strong in support of it and raised not as much money as they wanted, but did raise significant dollars in support of it.
Yeah, and you're seeing a lot of undervotes as well. I think, Prop A is 58,000. 67,000, 49,000, 51,000. So definitely you're seeing municipal voters voting in this, whereas, your regular folks that come to vote, or the folks that don't vote in municipal rather, probably just skipped it.
Just did the top of the ticket.
Just at the top of the ticket.
Because it was a long ballot.
It was a long ballot.